Hi, everybody. Good Wednesday. Good evening. Thank you for being a part of the program this 18th day of January. I've got a little advice for you weather-wise. There are a couple of breaks in the weather forecast where we have the word sunny making an appearance. A few days with a few bright spots. Plan accordingly, because there's not very many of those. Two, I think, literally. And after that, we're talking about a lot of wet weather. We've got a couple of days on in, Sunday and Monday of next week, specifically, where it just bookended wall-to-wall showers on and off, but throughout those 2 days, and a lot between now and then as well, beginning with a chance of showers, which moves in by tomorrow. So we'll update your forecast for you and prepare you as best as possible. But if you haven't already dug it out or invested in a new one, an umbrella will be a good thing to have in your midst this week. Headlines tonight will include, finally, it's taken me a few days, 4 hours of editing today at least, but nevertheless, basketball highlights from not one, two, but at least 3 or 4 basketball games. We'll get you caught up on district standings as well, and a lot of exciting basketball and other related information to pass along to you tonight, going back to past Friday night and Saturday night's matchups for, of course, the Hornets and Lady Hornets and some other teams in the area that we'll focus on as well. Also, an update on 2 people arrested. Well, actually, one arrested, one after experiencing some sort of medical condition, released from the Big Sandy Jail in his own recognizance. Nevertheless, charged with receiving stolen property to the tune of thousands of dollars of saddles that were stolen from a Magoffin County building. We'll tell you about the investigation, which is still ongoing, still hoping for some more details, is the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department. Nevertheless, a company has agreed to pay a record $150 million as settlement for their failure to report suspicious orders of pharmaceutical drugs, pills which were sent to pharmacies in parts of Kentucky and neighboring states. McKesson Corporation, one of the nation's largest distributors of pharmaceutical drugs, agreed to pay this record $150 million civil penalty for violations of the Controlled Substances Act. We understand that locally, the settlement resolves the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Kentucky's and DEA London Resident Office Diversion Group's joint investigation of McKesson's Washington Courthouse, Ohio Distribution Center, which distributed drugs to pharmacies in Ohio, West Virginia, and here in the state of Kentucky, too. The settlement further resolves open civil investigations being conducted by 11 other United States attorneys' offices across the nation and administrative investigations by the DEA as well. U.S. Attorney Shire, who is now, of course, the acting U.S. Attorney following the resignation of Ken Harvey, says that McKesson's failure to report suspicious orders fueled the opioid epidemic in eastern Kentucky, and opioid abuse has devastated our community and the investigation of drug distributors like McKesson, one aspect of the United States' multifaceted fight against this epidemic. The nationwide settlement requires the company to suspend their sales of controlled substances from their distribution center at Washington Courthouse and distribution centers in Colorado, Michigan, and Florida for multiple years. And the staged suspensions are among the most severe sanctions ever agreed to by a DEA registered distributor. The settlement also imposes new and enhanced compliant regulations on McKesson's distribution system. Back in 2008, the company agreed to as well a $13.25 million civil penalty and administrative agreement for similar violations. And in that case, the government alleged that, again, McKesson failed to design and implement an effective system to detect and report what they call suspicious orders for controlled substances distributed to its independent and small chain pharmacy customers. Big, large orders that should have thrown up red flags were just simply ignored, says the government. And the government's investigation developed evidence that even after designing a compliance program after the 2008 $13.25 million settlement, the company didn't put it into effect and adhere to its own program and rules. So a record-setting $150 million. They've said no, and it's not the first time either. Knott County, back I think 4 years ago or so, said no to a wet vote by, I think, a difference of about 800 votes or a little less. They also held another vote to allow alcohol sales on yesterday. This time the vote 1,981 to 1,589, a much lesser margin, but still to keep Knott County dry. 2 people were charged with at least being in possession of stolen property, several saddles. 10 saddles were stolen from a Magoffin County individual, 4 of which are still unaccounted for. We'll have those arrests, and of course a lot in basketball. That'll be one of our top stories as well, our two top stories, mind you, all starting after these words. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband. A rather lengthy and significant investigation by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department. I got an update via telephone call just a few moments ago from Sheriff Carson Montgomery about the investigation into the theft of not one but at least 10 saddles stolen from a McGoffin County resident. Now, apparently the saddles were in a structure and taken and maybe gone for a few or several days even before it was noticed. However, upon being noticed, an investigation began, and the Sheriff's Department received a tip that some individuals were in possession of at least a half a dozen of those 10 stolen saddles and trying to sell them at a McGoffin County equine business. Montgomery confirmed they've been investigating the theft of 10 saddles from a Gary Helton of McGoffin County. The items taken, some like this one, worth a great deal of money, several $1,000s in total, and 4 still missing. The sheriff says that through the course of the investigation, he was able to learn that 2 individuals had gone to the Red Top Tack Shop in McGoffin County on 460, I believe it is, and tried to sell some of those stolen saddles. They wouldn't buy them, but there was a gentleman there from another county who made contact with them and purchased the saddles. It was after learning of that the sheriff says he was able to make contact with that individual, who was identified as a Keith Blevins, who told Montgomery that yes, he had purchased them. He'd even placed an ad on Facebook to try to sell some of them, this one of the photographs, and that he was able to get some of those saddles back to the sheriff. Actually, I believe all 6 that he had purchased. He provided the pictures to the sheriff as well. And then Mr. Helton was able to positively identify his property as those being in Mr. Blevins' possession at the time. Mr. Blevins, of course, not facing any charges as he was unaware that they were stolen, but nevertheless, the investigation says the sheriff has led to 2 McGoffin County people who are facing charges. The sheriff says that he does not have at this time the evidence to prove that Billy R. Bailey or Sally Allen were responsible for the theft of the saddles. However, he can prove, he says, per the evidence and investigation, that they were in possession of those saddles at least at one time, and thus each of which have been charged after being taken into custody at the Ballard Sloan Trailer Court with a count of receiving stolen property under $10,000. Sally Allen was taken to the Big Sandy Jail, where she still resides, I believe, in a $5,000 surety bond. Mr. Bailey, after going to the jail, started undergoing some sort of a medical situation or emergency, he said, and was either taken to the hospital or released on his own recognizance from the jail after he couldn't be incarcerated due to his condition. Sheriff also tells me that the investigation still rolls on in the fact that there are 4 saddles which are still unaccounted for. I don't have photographs of those as of right now. We're trying to get those, but he says that if anyone out there hearing this or is aware of anyone attempting to fence or sell some saddles for any reason that you might think that they might have been stolen, please contact the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department. Tonight's community calendar has a couple of lost dogs, presumably lost together. They may have separated. Nevertheless, that and other announcements all brought to you by McGoffin Farm Bureau, which also starts off with a special anniversary wish. Yes, a happy 42nd anniversary wish tonight with a lot of love from Savannah and Addison and a whole lot of family and friends to Marion Rooster, which needs no explanation, but we'll go further. Marion Rooster Rao celebrating their 42nd, got a little ahead of myself, anniversary. Happy anniversary. In our other announcements, I've made quite a name for myself here, probably for a lot of reasons over the years, but one of them is being able to help folks find their lost pets. It's just been a great success, and none of it really owed to me because it's because you all are watching that it works. So here we go. Let's see if we can make this one work too. I've got 2 beagle dogs, it says, missing from the Lick Branch area. in the Middle Fork area. That's Lick Branch off of Middle Fork, mind you. Now, this is a male and a female beagle. They are pets, and they have a phone number attached at the bottom of your screen, 349-2525 or 361-1739. So 2 lost beagles, a male and a female, both tricolor, both pets, both hopefully to be found with your help, 349-2525. Got a couple of announcements here. It looks as though for late next week. We'll hold those off for a day or so. That gives me just a quick moment to tell you that if you got a calendar announcement, tell me. We'll tell everyone. Doesn't cost anything. Glad to do it. Mail, email, Facebook, phone, fax. Drop it off. Any way you can get it to me, it'll get on TV. Turning to funeral announcements, a service provided by our friends at the McGoffin County Funeral Home. A reminder of services to be held tomorrow morning at 11 for Laura Lois Prater LaCourse, 81, of Mash Forks, who survived by her son Dwayne Prater and daughters Linda Hammock, Brenda Johnson, and Letitia Mays. Visitation this evening, and once again up until services tomorrow morning from the McGoffin County Funeral Home in honor of Laura Lois Prater LaCourse. Also, services to be held tomorrow beginning at 1 from the McGoffin County Funeral Home as well for 29-year-old Christopher Thomas Smith of Flint Branch Road. He survived by parents Luther Smith and Kathleen Donahue, as well as his wife Chrissy Brewer Smith, sons Christopher and Michael Smith, and daughters Kaylee and Ocean and Tanya Smith. Visitation tonight and up until services once again tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, again from the McGoffin County Funeral Home. And we've also got a complete listing tonight and arrangements that have been set now in honor of Mary Evelyn Honaker Howes. Mary Howes, 78, of Ivyton Road, who passed away on yesterday, preceded in death by her husband Donald. She survived by her daughter Olive Howes and stepson Jerry Kraft. Visitation will be after 6 o'clock tomorrow evening and up until services, which start Friday morning at 11, all from the McGoffin County Funeral Home, with burial afterwards at the Honaker Cemetery at Ivyton. Literally 4 to 5 hours nonstop editing the following basketball highlights for you and information, kind of getting caught up and backlogged a bit, but nevertheless up to date as of in just a few moments. We'll go back to this past Friday night and begin with, of course, ladies first. The Hornets hosting Sheldon Clark, a district matchup for the girls this past Friday the 13th. One of several games we're covering all the way up through last night's boys matchup at Pikeville, as well as a little bit of information on some other district matchups, pivotal district games that took place last night as well. The Lady Cardinals were out to a 3-0 early lead that lasted until Shanna Howard covers one off the iron by Presley Russell for a putback. But this Cardinal 3 would put an early double up on McGoffin County, 4-8 for Sheldon Clark. Fighting back, though, with a ringer, Alexis Montgomery for 2. And McGoffin County is within 2 until Madison Thompson from just in front of the free throw mark. And it's a 9-10 Sheldon Clark game after the first quarter. McGoffin still trailing 11-16 with 5 minutes in the first half, and just couldn't make a run at the Lady Cardinals. This one come up as a loss for the home team, 44-59, the final score, putting the Lady Hornets hosting East Ridge the following night. That, too, was a home game, the first half of a doubleheader Saturday night, and it was a game that I missed. Of course, I was at the 15th Region Dance Competition all day and made it back in town just as the Lady Hornets had put the lid on East Ridge by 60-59. That was their 4th win of the season, their 2nd over East Ridge. That puts them at 4-9 as of this past Saturday night, 1-2 in the district, and that sent them on to the MLK Classic this Monday versus Knott County Central, where 11 points would separate the two. The Lady Hornets 40, Knott County 51. This was keeping them, of course, at 4-10, and the Lady Hornets are in action tonight, looking for that 5th win. That would put them at the 500 mark. So an important game tonight at Allen Central. Tip-off set for 7:30. I'll let you know how it bounces out tomorrow. Now let's go to the boys and back to this past Saturday night where the Magoffin County Hornets were hosting the boys from Sheldon Clark. Magoffin County coming after or off of that big district win over Johnson Central and the Golden Eagles on last Tuesday night. That was a big home win that we showed you highlights of, 56-54. And that put Magoffin County at 2-1 in the district, with the Cardinals of Sheldon Clark coming into this past Saturday night's game against Magoffin undefeated thus far in district play at 3-0. So, safe to say, and as is proven, a lot riding on this one for one of these two top 15th region district teams. And Magoffin County quite literally was on fire. 9 unanswered points to start it off. Another quick 2 by Ryan Mullins. And the more the Cardinals struggled, the more the Hornets poured it on. A nice shot by Lovely. Not his nicest of the night. We'll get to that. Peters on the dribble. Back out to Mullins. And it's Peters again, a step inside for 2. And a 13-2 Hornet lead came down to 17-12 with 1:40 to go in the first quarter. Let's make it 20-14, says Trenton Russell. But the Cards fight back, and Brady Dalton's 3 makes it a 3-point game. It's 20-17, just until another big 3 by Russell. And this one off the glass and in and good for the long 3 by Lovely with 1.9 to go in the first quarter. Makes it 26-18 Magoffin County. What would have been a decent halftime score. And this is not a replay but a repeat. Lovely this time behind the back before going in and off the glass for another Magoffin County motivator. Here the Hornets jump out by 12 and Daniel Minix then keeps it at 14. We're now 6:18 left to go in the first half. And whatever way it took to get them, it was raining 3s. With an occasional deuce. And a free trip for 2, courtesy of a tee on Sheldon Clark's coach, Jason James. All that added up with a monster 3 by Minix gave the Hornets a 20-point lead at 2 minutes left to go. And from there, the Hornets shut down Sheldon Clark and the half, leading by 18 points. Now, this is where I got to be painfully honest with you. What had been a very long day of dancing and news and basketball, we were at Shelby Valley by 8 o'clock, I think, that morning for the regional, sent this reporter home at halftime, confident that Magoffin County had this one in the bag, and I could go home and maybe hit the hay. But literally, just as I kind of settled in on the couch, recapping a little regional dance competition that I'd shared with these ladies, well, I check in on the score and find out that it's not the first, but it's the beginning of the second overtime after the Cards charged and made a major monster comeback. I know Dylan James, some other big scorers down the stretch in the second half, tied it up and then sent it to overtime, not once, but twice. So I jump up, make it to the high school, stormed in the door, and here I am coming in 59 seconds left in double OT. 7th grader Brady Dingus is at the line with a miss, but Sheldon Clark is still ahead by 2, 98-96. This is followed by a Cardinal foul that would send Trenton Russell to the line for a chance for the tie. His first shot is up and off. The second is good. Now, Magoffin County is down 1, and watching the clock, Russell takes the foul. And senior Sean Moore takes a free trip. And he, too, missed the front end. And the second shot won't fall either, and Magoffin County trails by 1 with 26.4 seconds to go. Now, I'm not going to show it, but there were 2 near turnovers and a timeout by Magoffin County, who would still have possession. And I got to be honest, this is where it all started to heat up even more, if that's possible, and unravel at the same time. Not one, but at least a couple of Cardinal fans take to the court with something to say, and what we all thought was actually the final play after it was over resumed right here with about 7 seconds to go. Lovely with the inbound. A bounce to Reisner. Reisner back to Lovely for this one. This was his nicest shot of the night. A perfect drive, kiss off the glass, puts McGoffin County in a frenzy with a presumed win. But wait, you'll see Sheldon Clark definitely gets the timeout. And the refs put 1.2 seconds back on the clock. So McGoffin County leads 99-98 with one chance left for Sheldon Clark. A Hail Mary won't go, and for the second time, technically the first, the Hornets win over Sheldon Clark at home on a Saturday night. An incredible game that will be overshadowed by the events that would follow. Events that were the culmination of what many have described to me as poor sportsmanship leading up to them. Before we get to that, this was the interview that first took place with Coach Robbie Russell after a thrilling win.
You're up 20 at halftime. Take it from there.
We was up 18. They're a great team. They're going to make a run. They made a run. It got really intense. Both teams played hard. I like Coach James. We're all good buddies. Both teams wanted to win. It was a dogfight. We pulled a great win out. I'm just tickled. I'm proud of my kids. You know, stuff happens. It's a district game. Welcome to district game in the 57. That's what this was tonight. Just a good old hard-fought fight. We come out the winner. That's all I know.
I also know that in the background, unbeknownst to myself and Coach Russell, a verbal exchange was about to break out into a physical altercation. Also, what we know is not one, but actually several Sheldon Clark fans were escorted out by authorities. I think the last count at 5 or 6. That was all before, during, and after an actual altercation that broke out between cheerleaders who were shaking hands after the game was over. McGoffin County School Superintendent Scott Helton says that after reviewing the video, after everyone had cleared the scene, they determined that there were at least 2 cheerleaders involved. Some words were said before an altercation took place that appears to have physically began by a Sheldon Clark cheerleader. And my video, too, which we left out of tonight's broadcast, also showed a McGoffin County cheerleader being thrown to the ground by one from the Sheldon Clark Cardinals team.
During the game, there was an incident during the time that the cheerleaders kind of greeted each other and shook hands. One of theirs and one of ours. As far as blame goes, I'm not going to get into that right now. The video was observed by me, our principal, and the superintendent and athletic director from Martin County, along with law enforcement. During the observation of the video, we didn't see any adult involvement other than trying to separate the participants in the fight. It was a scuffle that didn't last very long. As far as injuries go, I'm not sure that there was any. I haven't had any reports of that at this time. But it was an unfortunate incident in all aspects of it. We hate that anything like this happens at any time between schools, and I want to commend our people from here for working with us and helping us out during this incident. I want to thank them for that.
From there, next up for the Hornets was a road game last night, traveling to Pikeville to take on the Panthers, and it would be a struggle towards the end for McGoffin County as they took on a 9-6 Panther team who took an early lead, a very early lead. Panthers out 2-0. Ryan Mullins hits for an early tie, and then Russell for the early Hornet lead, 4-2. And Peters muscles his way in to up it to 6 points for the Hornets. But Pikeville's Kobe Brown has an answer, and with Pikeville up by 4, 21-17, it's Russell from way up top. He spins to win the bucket.
Russell.
But Pikeville's number 23 don't have his name on the roster. And this jumper for 2 equals a 31-27 halftime lead for the home team. And from there, Pikeville didn't look back. Your final score last night on the road for McGoffin County was a deficit, 56-73. McGoffin County falls to 12-7 on the season, 9-3 in regional play, still 3-1 in district standings. About 8 to 10 games or so left on everybody's regular season schedule. District play heating up, and of course this time of year, most important. Another big district matchup also took place last night. No highlights as Of course, I was elsewhere, but I can tell you that the Johnson Central Golden Eagles, the boys traveled to Warfield, where they were hosted by Sheldon Clark, and you can well imagine the atmosphere. And it was 20-6 at the end of the first quarter in favor of Sheldon Clark, and the Cardinals still led Central by 13 at the half, and they led them throughout the stretch and won by 10. So Sheldon Clark over Johnson Central last night. So as far as district seeding is concerned as of right now, still some games left, but right now you've got number 1 in the district, Sheldon Clark, who is at 4-1 in 57th district play. They've only got one district game left, and that's the Tigers of Painesville. Coming in second and 57th district, McGoffin County High School at 3-1. They still have 2 district games. Painesville at home and Johnson Central away. Third in the district, Johnson Central High School at 1-2 right now. They've still got 3 district matchups left in their schedule. Sheldon Clark and McGoffin and Painesville High School. And Painesville High School sitting 4th right now in the district with McGoffin, Sheldon Clark, and Central still to go. So still some big shakeups, quite possible and quite likely. But that's where we are right now, as well as just about out of breath. I've got a wet forecast for you, powered by Licking Valley RECC, and it's up right after this. I'll try to time when you might want to make some plans and schedule around what's going to be quite a bit of rain, but a few little bright spots of sunshine in the middle. I'll be right back. All right, I'm running over, so a real quick Licking Valley RECC outlook, and pay attention to the words sun because they're short and few. 39 degrees tonight for our expected nighttime low. For your Thursday, I think partly sunny skies and a decent dry day, but we will see, however, a 30% chance of showers mainly after 4, but the rain's coming, as they say, and by tomorrow night, showers likely, maybe even some thunderstorms or 2, and it's the first of what's going to be an onset of some pretty good rainfall, all said and done. Friday, that rain continues. Showers likely consistent up until about 1 o'clock on your Friday afternoon. We will see cloudy skies start to become mostly sunny, and I think it's going to happen pretty quick with that daytime high of 65 as well. So latter half of your Friday, that sun makes a quick return, but it's short-lived. Mostly cloudy skies Friday night and a low of 51. With those clouds possibly giving us about a 30% chance of some showers early on your Saturday. That's after 3 o'clock or so. Still 66, but by Saturday night, showers again a likelihood and a sure bet for Sunday. All the way around, start to finish, no other way around it. It's not going to be a major washout, but it's all going to add up. We'll know more about it by the end of the week, but right now, Sunday, showers and 63 for the day, and showers and 47 for the low that night. Monday of next week, more showers and 55, and more showers that night with a low of 41. I don't know if you want to call it good news or not, but ladies and gentlemen, the showers will be winding down soon thereafter. But you know what that means? They're doing so because something else is winding up. And that is winter, which, like for the past year or even 2 or so before this year, has come back with a bit of a vengeance. Now, as far as the Hornet schedule is concerned, I don't think I included that a few moments ago. If I did, here is a repeat. The boys are hosting Belfry tomorrow night at 7:30. Now, the girls are in action tonight, but they're on the road at Allen Central. And we'll go over scores for all the viewing area teams on tomorrow night's program and check in with everybody as far as schedules are concerned before the upcoming weekend. For now, thank you for watching, and have a good night.